Sweden has called off its hunt for a mysterious submarine, as nothing was found in the week-long search in waters off Stockholm. The largest military mobilization in decades has seen hundreds of troops and helicopters patrolling a very small stretch of the Baltic Sea. A state-of-the-art stealth warship also joined the search, armed with anti-ship missiles and depth charges. Now, the search caused a storm in the mainstream media, which portrayed it as a Cold War-style drama and convinced it had something, if not anything, to do with Moscow, while Swedish officials were struggling to find any explanation. Sweden even stopped military cooperation with Russia, claiming Moscow violated the sovereignties of countries in the Baltic region. Now, the wrapping up of the operation comes after Russia's defense ministry had said that, further searches would only further undermine stability and escalate tension in the region. Let's get more now from a Sweden research professor, Ola Tanander, who's joining me live here on RT International today. Thank you very much for coming on. It's good to see you today. The operation is over. Was there any point to any of it? We have a bit of no results to talk of.
Yeah, no, I think it's difficult to say if there's any point. It was a lot of training, of course, you could say. But I think the problem was not so much the military forces, what they did, as the media playing a very active role in pointing to various countries and particularly to Russia. The military forces did not point to Russia actually, but some part of the media establishment immediately pointed to Russia, and that is quite interesting.
So, as you say, the media was pointing very quickly to Russia, but why was the media pointing at Russia?
Some people jump to conclusion, you could say. I mean, some people think that obviously it must be Russia, because who else could it be? So that is a kind of direct reflection in a way. But what happened also was that it was a distress communication supposedly in Russian. But if you have a submarine, you are not supposed to do this kind of communication without the coded signal and so on. I mean, you are not supposed to speak in clear language. And there was supposedly also a surfacing submarine, a small submarine, and the photo was not very good one. But that is not the way submarines doing espionage operations behave.
So you're saying that a submarine would not send out a distress call, particularly not in Russian, because that's not the way they do it. As you say, the media was hyping up a lot of this, but as we understand, a result of this Swedish military now, we understand this operation, the Swedish military has been promised a big boost to its budget. So certainly there are many who are benefiting from the hype.
Yeah, I mean, of course, some people profit from it, but I don't think. I mean, I don't know what's behind it, and very few people know, I guess. But I think it's rather not a Swedish initiative. If it is something there under the water, there is someone else doing this, and then it's people who primarily wants to have some kind of tension in the area, in the Baltic Sea area, and that happened before in the 1980s, and you had a lot of these kind of submarine intrusions in the 1980s, which actually took place, but they were probably not Soviet at the time. I mean, they were probably more Western operations.
Mr. Tunander, if I can just jump in very quickly, I apologise, we're so low on time right here, but you've been saying during our conversation here that it wasn't the Swedish officials who were blaming Russia or saying this is a Russian sub, but more the fact that it was the media at fault here. Can you just address the media side of it one more time for me, please?
It's clear that some media, some journals, some newspapers were very active in pointing to Russia. And that's, I mean, many of them probably just believed it must be Russian, so to speak. Who else could it be? But certainly there is also people think back to the 1980s and think that it was Russian or Soviet submarines in the 1980s. and that actually was no proof for that, actually.
Yeah, so maybe, as you say, the media maybe taking advantage of old Cold War sentiment here and trying to refreshen this kind of ideology. Ulla Tonanda, a Swedish research professor at the Peace Research Institute in Oslo, can't thank you enough for your time here on RT International. Thanks for joining us.